Okay, so welcome back for part 2 of our plush lips. So again, I am using a 9mm hook and I'm using the Bernat blanket yarn for my lower lip. So let's just get right into it. So we're going to start with a slip knot and a chain 2. Here we go. 1 and 2. And we're going to be putting 4 single crochets into the first chain. Go, there's 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I'm going to bring back my contrasting thread from the upper lip. And I'm going to mark it, use it as a marker here. Got my contrasting thread, and I'm going to go on with this round. So round 2, we're going to be doing a single crochet. It can be bulky between the first stitch. Just try to see if you can find the 2 bars here. So we're going to be doing a single crochet in the first stitch, followed by an increase. 1, 2. Notice I have to shove it in the first round is kind of tricky. And then we're going to repeat that again. So we're going to be doing a single crochet into the next stitch, and then we're going to increase in the last. 1 and 2. Round 3 is going to be 2 single crochets. So there's 1 in the first one and 1 in the second, and an increase in the third stitch. So 2 single crochets in the same stitch. 1, 2, and we're going to repeat that. So 1, 2, and then an increase. There we go. 1, and the second one in the same spot. Carry up your contrasting thread. I think that's going this way. Yep. And on to row number 4. It's going to be 3 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to do an increase in the 4th stitch. So 2 in the 4th stitch. 1 and 2. Repeating that, 3 single crochets. 1, 2, and 3. And an increase in the last stitch of this round. So 2 in this stitch. 1, 2. Get my contrasting thread continuing to move up. Round number 5, we're going to go on with the same pattern. So it's going to be 4 single crochets and then an increase. 1, 2, 3, 4, and your increase 2 in the next stitch. 1, and oops, make sure we're keeping track of that. 2, and again we're going to be doing 4 and an increase. 1, 2, 3, 4, and the increase in the last stitch. 1, 2. Okay, moving my thread up, making sure I'm using the right one. Okay. Row number 6 is going to be 2 increases followed by 10 single crochets. So increase in the first and the second. 1, 2. The next stitch, 2, 1, 2, and then continue around to the end, 10 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Bulky yarn and a large hook is just extra work. I have to kind of use my hand to shove the stitches in properly, but I guess it just takes some practice. Row number 7, it's going to be single crochet. First one is a single crochet, 2 increases, so we're going to increase in the next stitch. That's 2 stitches, 1 and 2. Increase in the next, again, 1, 2, and 11 stitches to the end. 11 single crochets to the end. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. There's my 11th stitch. Move my stitch marker up. Moving on to row number 8. This one's a little bit different. It's going to be a single crochet in the first, increase in the second, so that's 2 stitches, 1, 2 in the same one, 3 single crochets, 1, 2, and 3. Another increase in the next stitch, so 2 stitches into the same one. And now we're going to be doing 10 single crochets to the end or back to that marker. So here we go for 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. We should have 18 stitches at this point. Moving on to row number 9, moving our contrasting thread up. It's going to be a single crochet followed by an increase. So the first stitch is a single crochet, increase, so 2 in the same stitch, 1, 2, 4 single crochets, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Increase, so 2 in the same stitch, 1, 2, and then you're going to have 11 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, keep your thread going up. The next round, which is round number 10, we're going to start with a single crochet and then an increase. So single crochet, increase 2 stitches in the next stitch. We're going to have 6 single crochets now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and an increase in the next stitch. So 2 in the next stitch. 1, 2, and that should follow with 11 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, so at this point you should have 22 stitches. Take a second and verify that you have 22. So from this part, this is the increases, this is the amount of increases we're going to do. We're not increasing anymore. We're just going to be working on sort of like the tubular part of the lip, and it's going to be 13 rounds in total. So right now so it should be rows 11 to 24. You're just going to keep going around single crochet, 22 single crochets for 13 rounds. Okay, so I've gone my 13 rounds or 13 rows, and I slightly stuffed it. We're almost done. So this should be round number 25, and it starts with 6 single crochets and then a decrease. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then we're going to do a front loop decrease. So we're going to go into the front loop of the next 2 stitches. So there's 1, and then just go right into the next one like that. Yarn over, pull through, 2, yarn over and pull through 2. Then we're going to go 6 stitches again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going to go 1 more decrease, so front loop of the next stitch, and then the next one as well. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and continue on 6 more, and then another decrease. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sorry, there is no decrease at the end of this. I said the wrong thing. So it should have been 6 single crochet, decrease, 6 decrease, and then 6. There's no decrease at the end. Okay, next round. Sorry for that. We make mistakes sometimes. Next round is going to be 6 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we're going to decrease in the next 2 stitches. So here we go, through the front loop 1 and the front loop of the second one, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Now here we're going to go 4 stitches. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, decrease again, so going through the front loops, 1, 2, and the last 6 stitches. So don't go through the one that's being pulled up, go through the next one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay. Going on to round 27, starting with 6 single crochets and then a decrease. So there's 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Decrease. So they're the front loop and the front loop of the next one. We're just going to go 2 stitches now. 1 and 2. Decrease. Front loop. There we go. Just relax a little bit and it should go. Okay. And 6. We should be down to 6 again. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Row 28, so continuing our contrasting thread. I think mine's getting buried in here. So contrasting thread, the next row is going to be 6 single crochets followed by 2 decreases in a row. So, right, so we're going to do 6. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now we're going to be doing 2 decreases here. So let's try, just kind of relax a bit here. 1. There's 1 decrease. And going into the next 2 stitches, there's 2. Followed by 6 single crochets. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to pause for a second and just stuff that a little bit more. Okay, so we are on row number 29. 5, 26, 29. We're on row 29 and it starts with 5 and then 2 decreases and 5. So let's start with 5 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to decrease twice here. So going into the front loops again, I did add stuffing, so it kind of makes it a little bit tighter, but we'll try our best. I find also it helps just to relax a little bit too. Okay, there's 1 success and 2. Front loop, front loop. There we go. Okay, and we're going to go 5 more till the end. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. The next round is going to be 4 decrease and then 4, then a decrease. So the next round is 4 decrease, 4 decrease. So let's go 4 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4. Decrease again. So relaxing a little bit. 1, 2. There we go. And then 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and a decrease. Okay, now is a perfect time to adjust your stuffing. So I noticed mine is a little bit squarish down here. I'm going to add a little bit more to the side. Okay, so continuing on, this is going to go pretty fast here. So we're going to do 3 and then a decrease and then 3 and a decrease. So we're repeating this pattern. 1, 2, 3, and decrease. So that's going to be 2 stitches. 1, 2. Okay, and 3 again. 1, 2, 3, and we're going to take another decrease at the end here. 2. Okay, so I did overstuff this end so that as it gets narrower and narrower, I can kind of move the stuffing around. I can also I still have some space to add some little bits if I need to. Pulling my contrasting thread is being a problem. Okay, going on, we have 2 more rounds to go. Here we go. So this one is going to be 2 decrease, 2 decrease. Here we go. So 2 and then decrease. 1, 2, and a decrease. Okay. I cheated a little bit and did that off camera, but I got it in. Okay, so there we go. 2 more. 1, 2, and decrease. Perfect. Okay, so we're at the very last round. Take a second, again, adjust your stuffing, make sure it's the way you like it. Doesn't need to be overstuffed at the end because these are going to be sewn in to the top in just a moment. So now the last round is 1 single crochet and then a decrease repeated. So here we go. 1, decrease, there we go. 1, and then a decrease. Again, as with the top lips, if you're struggling with finding the front loop at this end, don't worry about it too much. You could just go through the regular stitch and it wouldn't make much difference because we are going to be sewing this up in a moment. But generally we want to get that that top stitch. Okay, so now we're going to grab our scissors. So we're going to grab our scissors, cut it off at a decent length, enough to weave it in. This is not necessary, but I like to slip into the next stitch and then finish off. You don't have to do that. You could just pull that out, but it's just a finishing thing that I like to do. So I'm going to pull that through like so. I'm not going to worry about this hole being tied up because this is tight enough, and this end is going to be sewn to the top side too, so that's not going to be noticeable. I'm just going to take my crochet hook and try and bury this piece of yarn and try not to pull out the stuffing at the same time. I might go a couple of rows down here just to make sure it doesn't come loose. It's much harder on camera to do this part than it is not on camera. Okay, so we are going to pull out the contrasting thread. You might have got that out. You can just snip off your ends here. Again, I'm not overly concerned about these things being unwoven because I'm going to be going through with the upper lip and sewing it all together. Now, at this point, you want to grab a similarly colored acrylic thread, or you could even use cotton thread if you want, or cotton yarn. This stuff, although it's nice and bulky, it's hard to assemble things together. So I have a similarly colored purple thing. Where's my lip? Oh, here it is, buried. Okay. So you should have these two pieces right now. You should have these two pieces. Arrange them how you would like. And then what you're going to do is you're going to use a darning needle and some similarly colored acrylic thread or yarn. It's hard to sew with blanket yarn. It gets tangled. It's not consistent. So you could just grab a similar, it doesn't have to be perfectly matching. But so I'm using a violet color with a purple violet project. Cut off a very long stretch of this, cut off a very long piece of it, and I'm going to show you now how to assemble. So taking your darning needle, and this is basically you want to sew this one up to this corner and this one up to this corner, and you can decide if you want to have a gaping center or if you want it to be like a solid closed lip. I'm going to go with closing the lip because, I don't know, just preference. Okay, so tie a knot at the end. I'm going to cut off the extra bulk, and this color will probably hide very easily. It'll hide very easily into the work that you've done. I'm going to attach the yarn to the bottom lip. And so this is the front. This is the piece that will be on the inside of the mouth. So I'm going to be kind of essentially sewing along this edge. So I'm just going to add it right to the end here as best as I can. And I hope you can see that. So my goal is to have these two corners together. I'm going to try to sew as much to the inside as I can. On either side. It's really hard to do this on camera. So once you pull this taut, you'll notice that it disappears. I'm just going to pick up some loops from this side. And then the other side. So we're just going to go back and forth. And your goal is for these corners at this edge to meet up. So try to adjust as you're going. You could use a pin or something, but I think we can eyeball it. So try and get to this end, and I'll meet you when we're at the finish of our project. Okay, so I've made it all the way down to the end. As you can see, like I did sew it in here. It's very hard to notice, and if you do smaller stitches, it's will be very hard to see. It looks adorable. It's very cute. Mine is looking a little bit purpley or bluey on screen, but it's actually a really nice lavender color. You could go with traditional red. Also, I'm going to go back to the beginning where I started and kind of make sure that that is closed up. So I'm just going to thread my needle, and literally to get back to the other side, if you find that you don't like the way it's sitting, I don't like the way mine is sitting right now, you just literally thread it through. Okay, so I'm back to the beginning. I don't like the connection here, so I'm just going to make sure I go right out the very end of the top lip and make sure I go into the very end of the bottom lip. Make sure that it's well connected. Okay, and I can go back again. Again, on camera, things look different. Like this thread in person is not a big contrast from the project. It just looks like it on camera. So I'm just going to make sure I get it in here a few times. I'm going to do the sewer's knot. So I'm going to go through the center of that yarn, pull that nice and tight, not even noticeable. Go a few more times through here, and then I'm just going to cut it off and live on the edge and hope that nothing comes unattached. And ta-da! Here is the finished product. So a beautiful juicy lips. Here's the red ones that I previously made. The assembly makes all the difference. So I noticed this one is a little bit more triangle-y at the corners, and this one is a bit more of a more rounded lip, but it's so cute. What a nice accessory. Something nice you can make for a teenager or even for yourself. Some nice decoration. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope that you were able to complete this project, that you got something out of it, and that my instructions were clear and understandable. And this is my tripod, the popcorn box over there. I forgot to get that out of the scene. Thank you so much for joining. Please like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. Goodbye. Thank you. Merry Christmas.